This is for Biology 223 Genetics. I want to do problem 31 in chapter 11, 12, depending on the edition. It's the Mendelian Genetics. This is about bees. So let me read you the question. I've written some things down to save time. In bees, males, drones, develop from unfertilized eggs and are haploid. Females, workers and queens, are diploid and come from fertilized eggs. So this is true of the whole order of Hymenoptera. It's true for bees, ants, wasps. We have sex determination that is not by a gene or XY or ZW chromosome sort that we've seen in other organisms. It's by a haploid or diploid. Do not get confused by this. This makes things simple, and it's analogous to humans when we're considering the X chromosome. In humans, the female is diploid at X, and the male is haploid or hemizygous. So the sort of analysis we're doing here would be pretty much true for humans if we're considering only the X chromosome. So the author may be choosing this because it's a good example of biology, or using this to instruct us about some other concepts in biology, about entomology, or it could be to illustrate that this is not so different what happens in humans. W, capital W, big, black eyes is dominant over little w, white eyes. So I have that written here. Workers of genotype RR, so I'm using R dash. That means it doesn't matter whether it's homozygous, dominant, or heterozygous, it's dominant. So big use wax, and little r use resin. So it has the first question, so then it has for several parts of the question, a big small w, big small r queen founds a colony after mating with a royal consort in the nuptial flight with a male who's big W, small r. So let me show you. You can also modify the typical pedigree. We can say, okay, let's do it up here. Let's imagine we have a female crossed with a male. So the female here is big, small, big, small. The male is big, small, one of each. And so we have male offspring are haploid. They come from unfertilized eggs. So they come only from the mother. This is, as I said, as in humans, considering the X chromosome. And female offspring are diploid, coming from the union of the male and female. So that really is analogous. So the question is, what happens in this? What will be, so the question A is, what will be the appearance and behavior of workers in the new hive, and what are their relative frequencies? So what happens is the new queen goes out on a nuptial flight, mates with a royal consort, or 2 or 3, stores the gametes of the male, and then when she's laying eggs in her new colony, she chooses which ones to be fertilized and which ones not, or she can fertilize or not because the gamete, the sperm are stored. So let's do a Punnett square then. So let's put the female. What kind of gametes can the female produce on this side? Well, she can make a big W, big R gamete. She can make a big W, small r gamete, right? She can make a little w, big R gamete, and a little w, little r gamete. Okay, and the male, he can only make one kind of gamete. He's haploid. It's genetically the same as a gamete. And the offspring then will be big, small, big, small, big, small, big, small. Okay, so the question is, what will be the appearance and behavior of workers? Well, the workers are the female here. These are the daughters. These are the workers. And the relative, the genotypes will be equally distributed, quarter. And if you look at this, you'll say, well, the appearance is the color, eye color. So they're all going to be black-eyed, so all black-eyed. And for their behavior, it's going to be half of them one half are going to be phenotypically use wax, and one half will phenotypically use resin. So that's part A. Part B, give the genotypes of the male offspring with relative frequencies. Well, we've actually already done that, because here it is. These are the male. Here, the male genotypes are equivalent to the gametes produced by the female, by the queen. So we already have done that, and we can see they're equally distributed, quarter, 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 and it's going to be big, 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 small, small, big, small, small. And so that's fine. We've already done that. There's another question which is unrelated to the eye color and behavior, which is locus C. Maybe it's for cripple or curly. It sounds familiar for Drosophila. Fertilization only takes place in the air during a nuptial flight, and any bee unable to fly would be effectively rendered sterile. So this also brings us into the thought of where do mutations come from. Suppose a recessive mutation, little c, occurs spontaneously in a sperm that fertilizes a normal egg. So when would that mutation have occurred? That mutation is going to occur then during the replication before meiosis, or during meiosis, excuse me, or before meiosis in a germline cell in the male, or could happen very early on, but after zygote formation, but then we'd think some patchwork would occur. So the example in humans would be, I think it's hemophilia. The book has a section, description of Queen Victoria seemed to be the person who generated first the mutation responsible in her pedigree. And if we know enough, we can trace it back. So where does it happen? A polymerase made a mistake during replication in a germline cell. So the male was able to fly, but the sperm had a mutation. So, and also suppose the effect of the mutant gene is to cripple the wings of any adult not bearing the normal allele, capital C. Therefore, essentially, this genotype of big C is needed to fly and needed for flight and therefore fertility. Fertility is an interesting phenotype because of the consequences. Can't fly, can't mate. So that has consequences here. Putting on different layers. The problem is putting on different layers, not just asking us some simple calculation of genotypes and frequency, but also what it means in terms of phenotype and sometimes in a more complex way. The fertilized egg develops into a normal queen named Madonna. So let's do that. So we have here, it was a normal, right? This is a new mutation, so we can say that what happened was, as far as the royal consort here is concerned, he was effectively this, or his sperm was this, and that's what matters. So the fertilized egg, in our case, so that we don't care about them, we care about this, the fertilized egg, that's her, is going to be big, small, develops into a normal queen named Madonna. Normal in phenotype, she can fly. This is Madonna. And maybe Peter Russell is making fun of the rock star here. What is the probability, or maybe it's a biblical reference, what is the probability that the wingless males will be found? What is the probability that wingless males be found in a hive founded 2 generations later by one of Madonna's granddaughters? Okay, this is where we have to be careful that we're not confused by the actual question being asked. And very often it's not that we don't know how to do the calculations, it's that the question, we could easily be off by some factor. So the fertilized egg, the probability of wingless male. So what's going to happen? She is going to mate with a male. That male will be able to fly, therefore he's of big C. And then we don't care about her sons, we care about our male offspring, we care about the female offspring. So we will have here then probably half of them will be big, big, and half of them will be big, small. Why am I doing it that way? Because look, she can make big or small gametes. The royal consort can only make big, so we have two possible genotypes, equal frequency. The question is, what will probably wingless males we found in the hive founded 2 generations by one of Madonna's granddaughters. So this is her daughter. Now we need to do her granddaughter. The next royal consort will also be able to fly. And so this is Madonna's granddaughter. And we have here a possibility is, I'm going to do it a different way. I'm going to do it the way I've done. I'm not going to do it the way I've done it in our pedigrees, where an efficient, universal way. I'll do it a very obvious way. It's a little painful for me to do it this way because it's a bit clunky. So she can be this or this. So if she is this, she can make only one kind of gamete, and he will make one kind of gamete, and we will only have the female offspring will be this. Right, so here, this cross is what I'm doing here. This is this cross, this is this cross. And if she is big, small, then we will have, he also would be big. She can make big or small. Okay, so we will have big, big, and big, small, equal frequency. Okay, but the probability is 1/2 this and 1/2 this, so it's really going to be 2 chances of this, 1 chance of this, so there's going to be 3 chances of big, big, and 1 chance of big, small. So that's what she will be, right? She will be that. Now the question is, what is the probability that wingless males will be found in a hive founded 2 generations by one of her granddaughters? So what's the probability that she, when founding a hive, that her colony will have wingless males? Well, they can only have wingless males if she's this genotype, big, small. So the question is really, what's the probability of that? And the probability you see is 1 in 4. I can do it a different way during pedigree, or I can do it a more efficient way, but we don't have any recombination or any complex aspects. D, what about one of her great-granddaughters? So we carry that down, and I expect every generation is going to be a half. So if we carry that down another generation, we'll get 1/8. We carry that down another generation, we'll get 1/16. So I expect that answer to be 1/16. You should check that yourself.